Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop. It will soon be here. It will be better than before. Yesterday's gone. Yesterday's gone. Hey, it's me. Okay, well, before I delve into the Chapter 8 material, I thought it might be good for me to go over the test a little bit to try to, predict some of the questions might have and troubleshoot a little bit. Okay, so hopefully you haven't had a chance to look over the test a little bit. I do want it by Friday, but if you can't do that, just let me know. I certainly can be flexible these days. Okay? All right, so just to go over each of the items relatively quickly. Questions 1, 2, and 3 actually come straight from the book. So if you look at the review questions, types of things, okay, and they're really good questions to get at some of the major points in these chapters. Number 1 is about how frustration could be used as one of the 3 different types of variables that we've been talking about. So that will really highlight your understanding of the difference between an independent variable, dependent variable, and an extraneous variable. Number 2, what's confounding, basically. Getting to the heart of what confounding is and why it's important to eliminate any sort of confounds in your experiments. Okay. Number 3, talking about different types of control, the importance of control groups. And again, this comes straight from the textbook. You'll be able to see the things that they talk about, like maturation history, regression, the mean. Just give me a sense that you understand what those mean and why control groups are important for dealing with those. Okay. Number 4, sources of carryover effects. That is straight from the notes. Okay, that's from my PowerPoints. They do talk about Goodwin, as they do talk about progressive effects and carryover effects. But what I'm looking here for here is the specific types of carryover effects that I mentioned. Like I'll give you a couple. Again, I give you that acronym of Florida Cash, FLCASH. Any of those four you can use. And again, the idea also is how do you control for those carryover effects. So again, that comes pretty much straight from the lecture and the notes. Okay, number 5 and 6. Those are scenarios that really are going to be, what you really need to know. Okay, I really need to know that you know this information. They can take the information that you're reading about and then actually, apply that to an experimental situation. So I've got the 2 different experiments: the different flavored drink experiment, and then the one after that is the effects of caffeine and maize color. Maize color on maize performance. Okay, so in both of those cases, there's no, especially for number 5, the drink one. You can pick between or within subjects in that particular case. You just have to explain why you picked one or the other. So again, there's, you can say between or within or repeated measures, if you rather call it that. Either one of those is acceptable, but what is at the core of that question is that you defend why you chose one or the other. So if you did use repeated measures or within subjects, then you would talk about how counterbalancing would be done. If you did choose a between subjects experiment, then you would talk about how random assignment is used to put the subjects into groups. Okay, so also in both of those, I want you to specify the design. So how many independent variables are there? How many dependent variables are there? Okay, what would be the actual statistic that you would use? Okay, so for the caffeine and background color on mazes, then what I'm looking for is, again, the type of design. Is it 3x3 mixed? Is it a 2x2 mixed? Is it 2x2 within? Is it 2x2 between? Is it 5x5? Whatever you think it is, I'm looking for that level of specificity in terms of the design and also the statistic that you're going to be using. So don't just say t-test. You have to tell me within or between, and if it's an analysis of variance, you have to tell me again if it's between, mixed, or totally with repeated measures. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for in those two questions. So hopefully if you've read Chapter 8 already, you'll have a sense of what I'm looking for here. Okay, the next question. Let's see, those 7 and 8 both also come straight from the textbook. I wanted to get an idea that get a handle on the difference between experimenter bias and participant bias, okay, and how you can deal with that. Number 8 is the Bransford and Johnson experiment. I really talked about that this morning in the other, Chapter 7, Part 2 video. Okay, so I talked about that, and I think that's pretty clear cut based on the information in the book and what I mentioned in the the mini lecture online. Okay, and the again Chapter 7, Part 2 video. All right, then the very last question is about the tutorial that I put online, the Michael Britt Psych Files tutorial. That, if you haven't watched yet, you really need to watch it. That's going to help. That's the information that he gave in that tutorial. Pretty much what I would have done in class. Okay, so take a look at that maybe a couple of times if you're not quite getting it, and also match it up to the information that's in the textbook. Okay, so I think you'll be able to do that. The other thing, again, to make it a little clearer, give you a little hint if you're actually watching this video, is that when I say add a third independent variable, you could use another independent variable, or it can be a participant characteristic variable. The one that he uses as a suggestion for adding a third independent variable, is the gender of the criminal. Okay, so that would be the third independent variable. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for there. Think of something else that you could use as a third independent variable, one that you would certainly think would impact the dependent variable in that particular case. All right, so I think that pretty much wraps it up. There is the bonus question. For some of you who are a little bit more advanced with stat, you probably will be able to do that. But basically, I'm asking what the design would be once you do make it a 3 independent variable study. Okay, and then what the analysis of variance would look like. Right. So I think I'll leave it there. I think you'll be able to figure out and I will talk about it a little bit in the Chapter 8 lecture, which I'll post sometime early tomorrow. All right, guys. All right, so hope that helps. If you do have questions about the test, just let me know. Okay, and I'll try to answer it as soon as I can. All right. Okay, so take care and stay safe, everybody. Okay. Bye bye.